Today's topic is extracellular matrix. This comes as a short note, and this is a new addition in your syllabus from this year. Am I audible? Am I audible, or should I speak a bit louder?
We are audible.
You are audible now.
Okay. Let's start with extracellular matrix. We'll be covering the composition of extracellular matrix, then structure, synthesis and disorders of collagen, structure, synthesis and disorders of elastin and of proteoglycans. This extracellular matrix, it constitutes the non-cellular components of all tissues and organs. It means no cell is there in this extracellular matrix. Plays an important role in the development, differentiation and maintenance of tissue and organ. What is the composition? It consists of fibrous protein, that is collagen and elastin, that we'll see in detail, then glycoproteins and proteoglycans. These glycoproteins and proteoglycans has been covered in your chemistry of carbohydrate class. We'll just brief this at the last. The cells of the connective tissue are separated by extracellular matrix. This all you know. You must have learned this in your anatomy. This extracellular matrix, it is produced by the cells of connective tissue such as fibroblast and epithelial cell. Must have seen the histological slide of a bone or connective tissue. In that, you can appreciate this fibroblast and epithelial cells. Pardon? Somebody said something. Here we have this composition of extracellular matrix. Here you can see that these cells, between these two cells, we have the components of extracellular matrix. That is your fibronectin and collagen, proteoglycans. These are all comprising the extracellular matrix. First we'll start with collagen. Major structural protein that is found in the connective tissue is collagen. It is most abundant protein in our body. 25 to 30% of total weight of protein in the body is in the form of collagen. It serves to hold together these cells in the tissue. Now the major fibrous elements of the tissue which are served by this collagen, they are bone, teeth, tendons, cartilage and blood vessels. Structure of the collagen. The basic structural unit of collagen is tropocollagen. How this tropocollagen is formed, we'll see. This tropocollagen, it consists of 3 polypeptide chains that are arranged in right-handed triple helical structure. You know what is triple helical structure? This has been covered in your organizational composition of or organization hierarchy of proteins, primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary structure. In that you have learned this triple helical structure. Triple helical structure is stabilized by interchain hydrogen bonding formed between the peptide bonds of different polypeptide chains. The helical structure of collagen helix is different from the helical structure of proteins. How it is different? We'll see. Helical structure of collagen, it resembles the helical structure formed by synthetic polypeptide polyproline. In the helical structure of protein, it is not this polypeptide polyproline. This is an MCQ or Viva question. Hence, it is called polyproline type helical structure. It is an extended left-handed helical structure with 3 amino acids per turn. This is again an MCQ. Which 3 amino acid? It is rich in glycine, proline and hydroxyproline. Here you can see it is a representation of this triple stranded collagen fiber. Here you can see 3 amino acids, they are triple stranded. The blue one is one, green one is another amino acid, and yellow is the third amino acid. There are different types of collagen. Typically 4 types of collagen they have given. Different structural forms of collagen that differ in their supermolecular structure. Now this collagen type 2, it forms the fibrous structure, and type 4 collagen, it is the non-fibrillar structure. There are more than 15 types of such collagen. Collagen 1 to 4 represent more than 90%, 95% of the total collagens present. Hence here specified here type 1 to 4. Rest we have not specified. Here we can see type 1 collagen. It has 2 identical chain, 1 non-identical, meaning parallel bundles, and it is rich in hydroxylysine. It is seen mainly in bone, tendon, skin, ligament. Second type is 3 identical chains. It is fibrillar. It is also rich in hydroxylysine. It is seen in cartilage, retina, and vitreous body of the eye. Third type, it is 3 identical chains. It is also fibrillar, and it is helical network. It is also rich in hydroxyproline. It is seen in skin, arteries, lung, liver. And the last one, that is fourth one, the identical chains. It is non-fibrillar. The rest 3 are fibrillar. Mesh formation, it is rich in hydroxyproline. It is found in basement membrane, glomeruli, and cornea. This is asked. Now, how this collagen is synthesized? It involves several post-translational processes. What do you mean by post-translational processes? That we have already learned after translation class. Post-translational modifications occur, that means there occurs methylation and other processes which form the or matures the protein, that is post-translational processes. The first is synthesis of, first step of this collagen synthesis is synthesis of pre-pro collagen. It is initially synthesized as pre-pro collagen. It is made up of tropocollagen component as well as an additional sequences called as propeptides. Now, after the pre-pro collagen is synthesized, from that we synthesize procollagen. Removal of few amino acids from the amino acid of pre-pro collagen by signal peptidase results in the formation of procollagen. So if we remove few amino acids from the pre-pro collagen, we get this procollagen. That is the second step in formation of collagen. Then tropocollagen. Procollagen is further modified to form tropocollagen. Some of the modifications which are there are formation of interchain disulfide bonds, then formation of intra-chain disulfide bonds, then hydroxylation of proline and lysine residues. After that, glycosylation of few 5-hydroxylysyl residues and formation of triple helical structure. These are some modifications which occur for formation of tropocollagen. There are many more. Lastly, formation of collagen. This collagen is formed from tropocollagen by the removal of N-terminal propeptides and C-terminal propeptides. We remove this N and C-terminal propeptides. Once the propeptides are removed, collagen molecules spontaneously assemble to form collagen fibril. Here you can see the process in short. First, there is pre-pro collagen synthesis. From there, after removal of certain or few amino acid, we get procollagen. Now this after some translational, post-translational modifications, we get tropocollagen. These are the processes like hydroxylation, glycosylation, disulfide bond formation. Now this forms an triple helix formation. From this we get tropocollagen. From tropocollagen we get formation of mature collagen. Now this from this collagen NN propeptides they are removed and we get collagen fibril. There occurs cross-linking of this collagen fibril. How this cross-linking occurs and what are collagen fibril, that we will see now. There is a quarter staggered arrangement. What do you mean by this? The tropocollagen molecules are arranged in a quarter staggered array from the collagen fibers. The structure repeats after each row. Thus the collagen fiber is standard quarter staggered arrangement. You can see this in the diagram. Triple stranded helix. This is repeating after few amino acid, it is repeating again. That is your quarter staggered arrangement. Why this arrangement is there? This helps in the mineralization. We have cross-links in collagen fibers. This cross-linking, it strengthens the covalent cross-links which are formed by aldehyde derivatives of lysine residues. Because of this aldehyde derivatives of lysine residues, they are known as aldol cross-links. These aldol cross-links are formed with the amino terminals of the chain. This helps in strengthening the collagen, cross-linking in the collagen fibers. We have lysyl oxidase. It is a copper-containing enzyme. Since the copper ion is being located at the active site, in copper deficiency, the cross-linking of the collagen are reduced. Hence, there may not be strengthening of the covalent cross-links in collagen fiber. Here diagram I have already shown what is the quarter staggered thing. So we have synthesized collagen. First it is pre-procollagen, then procollagen, then tropocollagen, and then collagen fibril. Now the functions of collagen: it gives support to organs, it provides alignment of cells so that cell anchoring is possible. This in turn helps in the proliferation and differentiation of cells. In blood vessels, if collagen is exposed, platelets adhere and thrombus formation is initiated. Hence, it should not be exposed in the blood vessels. There are certain disorders which are associated with collagen synthesis and degradation. These disorders of collagen, they are categorized into two types. One is inherited defect in collagen synthesis or degradation, and second is acquired defect. We'll see this inherited defect first. This is the list of disorders of collagen due to inherited defect in the synthesis and degradation of collagen. Osteogenesis imperfecta, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, Menkes disease, Alpers syndrome, spondyloepiphyseal dysplasia, and epidermolysis bullosa. These are the disorders associated with collagen that are inherited disorders. We'll see few of them in detail, not all this. But just keep in mind, this is the list of disorders, inherited disorders for collagen. It can be asked in Viva or MCQ. What is the cause of the disorder, like mutation in which gene or which enzyme deficiency leads to this disorder? Then due to the defect, what are the clinical symptoms or signs which we can see? We'll start with osteogenesis imperfecta. It is an inherited as an dominant triad, that is autosomal dominant disorder. It is the result of a mutation which results in the replacement of a single glycine residue by cysteine in type 1 collagen. We have 4 types of collagen. In type 1 collagen, if this single glycine residue is replaced by cysteine, then this type of defect occurs. It is known as osteogenesis imperfecta. This change disrupts the triple helix near the carboxy terminal. That is C-terminal. Hence, the polypeptide becomes excessively glycosylated and hydroxylated. Because of this, it results in brittle bones, leading to multiple fractures and skeletal deformities. Here you can see this. Because of this defect, this is the normal bone on the left side. Here on the right side, this is the picture of an X-ray of a person with osteogenesis imperfecta. The bone is deformed. Okay. Second is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. This condition, it results from defective type collagen formation due to defective lysyl oxidase. This is the enzyme or lysyl hydroxylase. If any of these two is defective, then the condition which occurs is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It is characterized by weakening of collagen, loose skin, hypermobile and lax joints. Here you can see this is the loosening of skin and hyperextension and lax joints. Here you can see the thumb. Person's thumb is, normally you cannot press your thumb like this. But in this Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, person can do it like this. You can see the fingers of this person. Normally you cannot do like this. But in this Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, person can hyperextend or there is laxity of the joints. Next we have Marfan syndrome. It is inherited as autosomal dominant disorder. There occurs arachnodactyly, that is long digits are present. Ectopia lentis is there, that means the dislocation of the eye lens. Then hyperextension of joints and aortic aneurysm. Aortic aneurysm, this you must have learned in your anatomy. This disease is produced by a defect in the gene coding for connective tissue protein, that is fibrillin 1. If the defect is there in this protein, then there occurs Marfan syndrome. It is a component of microfibrils which normally gives the substratum for deposition of elastin. So fibrillin and elastin are deposited at lower concentration as compared to normal, hence it occurs. This defect occurs. You can see the long digits as compared to the other. You can see the long digit on both the legs. Here you can see the dislocation of lens. Instead of dislocation, the term subluxation of lens is used since it is not total dislocation, partial dislocation is there. It is a bit superiorly and medially the lens is dislocated or displaced. Hence, subluxation is the term used. This was the list of inherited disorders. Now we have some acquired disorders. have covered 2-3 disorders of this inherited list. Rest I have not covered. What you need to know is the name of the disorder you should know by heart. If you do not know the defect due to which it occurs, it is okay. But name of the disorders you should be able to decide. Move on to acquired disorders. We have aging, excessive scar tissue, liver cirrhosis, scurvy, and infections. Aging, this is though it is a normal process, but it is categorized under acquired disorders of collagen. Here, more cross-linking of collagen occurs, hence the hardening of connective tissue is there. Excessive scar tissue, excessive collagen accumulation occurs in certain parts. And this leads to common condition, that is keloid. Keloid means the skin, it is it is in the middle of the chest, mainly the keloids they are formed. Next time I come, I will show you the picture of keloid. In liver cirrhosis, mostly due to alcoholism, proliferation of the stellate cells collagen accumulation occurs. Scurvy, you all know, it is a deficiency disorder of vitamin C. Here, one of the function of vitamin C is collagen synthesis. Since scurvy is there, that means vitamin C defect is there. There will be impaired collagen synthesis. Hence, in this, there will be impaired cross-linkage of collagen. It will lead to delayed wound healing, bleeding gums, and subcutaneous hemorrhages. Infections are common. Stimulation of collagen synthesis and spread of infection occurs. Falling of infection forming abscess. Abscess you all know, caused by microbes secreting collagenase. There may occur gas gangrene caused by anaerobic bacteria. These were disorders inherited as well as acquired. We move on to elastin, that is the second component of extracellular matrix. Elastin is a structural protein present in connective tissue. It confers extensibility and elastic recoil to the tissues such as arteries. Elastin is significantly present in lungs, blood vessels, ligaments, skin, and ear cartilage. It is coded by a single gene. The structure of elastin, it is coded by a single gene. It is composed of single polypeptide chain which forms random coil. This random coil formation is responsible for stretching and recoiling of elastin-rich tissue. The property of elastin, that is the elasticity, that is because of this random coil formation. It contains hydroxyproline. Hydroxylysine is absent in this. Since hydroxylysine we have seen in the collagen. Glycine XY repeats are not present as they are seen in collagen formation or structure. It has intramolecular desmosine crosslinks. How it is synthesized? Elastin is synthesized as topoelastin precursor. Then post-translational modification involves hydroxylation of proline residues occurring intracellularly and cross-linking occurring extracellularly. Post-translation modification occurs on this topoelastin and this elastin is synthesized. Clinical aspect or disorders which are associated with defect in elastin. We have Williams syndrome. It is an inherited disorder of elastin which is caused by deletion in elastin gene. This is one of the mutation. Mutation may be insertion of a gene or deletion. That is here deletion. That means gene is deleted. The condition is characterized by mental retardation and supravalvular aortic stenosis. Second condition is scleroderma. It is an acquired defect or disorder which occurs due to increased accumulation of elastin. Williams syndrome, which was due to deletion in elastin gene, whereas scleroderma, it is due to increased accumulation of elastin. Next, we have pulmonary emphysema, since in lung also it is present. It is caused by increased degradation of elastin. The elasticity is lost. Aging of the skin, this is a normal condition which is associated with significant decrease in elastin. We have two more conditions, pseudoxanthoma elasticum and copper deficiency. In pseudoxanthoma elasticum, this is an inherited defect in the formation of elastin. Clinical manifestations are similar to Ehlers-Danlos syndrome that we have seen in collagen synthesis. In copper deficiency blocks the formation of aldehydes, which are essential for cross-linking. Some lysine residues are oxidized by copper containing lysine oxidants. Hence, there will be defect in this elastin formation. We have covered the protein collagen and elastin. Collagen may come as a short note separately, where you are supposed to write down the structure, formation or synthesis and functions and then disorder of collagen. Elastin may or may not come as a short note. It may be asked in MCQ as well as Viva. Extracellular matrix as such, completely it can come as a short note. In that, you are supposed to write down about all the three: collagen, elastin and then proteoglycans. Proteoglycans, you have already learned, these are the glycoproteins containing glycosaminoglycans as the major carbohydrate component. Proteoglycans, the carbohydrate component is predominant compared to protein. This is always asked as a Viva as well as MCQ. Carbohydrate component is predominant in proteoglycans as compared to protein. They are found in extracellular matrix of connective tissue, synovial fluid of joints, cartilage, mucous secretion and vitreous humor of the eye. This you have learned in your carbohydrate chemistry. Composition, proteoglycan molecules, they consist of a core protein and the core protein is linked up to 100 glycosaminoglycan residues. The linkage between this is a glycosidic bond which is involving serine and threonine residues of protein. Again an MCQ. The linkage is a glycosidic bond involving serine and threonine residues of protein. Linkage usually occurs at a site with P-specific trisaccharide sequence, that is serine, xylose and galactose. These the disaccharide units, they are repeating units of glycosaminoglycans. In the cartilage, proteoglycans, they form large proteoglycan complex. This complex is formed by the linkage of several core proteins with their attached glycosaminoglycan side chain to linear chain of hyaluronic acid. A long hyaluronic acid is there. There is a core protein, to that there is a linear chain of this glycosaminoglycans. The linkage of proteoglycans to hyaluronic acid occurs through link protein. There is a linkage between this hyaluronic acid and the proteoglycans, that is your linker protein. What is the significance of proteoglycans? They are highly hydrated. Why? Because of extended glycosaminoglycans and polyionic properties. This is again an Viva questions. Why are polyglycans highly hydrated? Thus they provide resiliency for tissues such as cartilage. Disorders of proteoglycans and glycosaminoglycans. I don't know this has been covered in carbohydrate chemistry or not. Disorders of glycosaminoglycans include inherited defect in degradation of glycosaminoglycans and acquired defect in synthesis or degradation of glycosaminoglycans. So because of the degradation, there are disorders. This is the list of the disorders of glycosaminoglycans. You are asked a short note, mucopolysaccharidosis. Mucopolysaccharides is your heteropolysaccharide or glycosaminoglycans. But mucopolysaccharidosis is the disorder which is occurring due to defect in mucopolysaccharides. So these are, in short, mucopolysaccharidosis. That means the disorders of glycosaminoglycans. You all know the name of 6 glycosaminoglycans: heparin, heparin sulfate, damatine sulfate, keratin sulfate, hyaluronic acid, keratin sulfate. Okay. So we'll see these disorders. Need not know the defect in detail and the disorders. Only you should know in which disorder which glycosaminoglycan is affected. Hurler's syndrome type 1. The defect is in the damatine and heparin sulfate. Hunter syndrome type 2. Damatine and heparin sulfate are affected. Sanfilippo A syndrome type 3. Heparin sulfate is affected. Morquio A syndrome type 4. Keratin sulfate is affected. These are the some of the disorders. The defect is present in this of glycosaminoglycans. Should be in Viva, you should be able to name the disorders. If you name the defect, then also it is good. Mucopolysaccharidosis. These are a group of lysosomal disorders caused by defect in the enzyme involved in degradation of glycosaminoglycans. They are characterized by accumulation of glycosaminoglycans in tissues and increased excretion of this glycosaminoglycans in urine. Since the defect is there in the enzyme, there will be more and more accumulation of this gas in the tissues that we can either find out, or if they are accumulated in more quantity, that will be excreted in urine in more amount. That we can find out by various tests. The major findings or clinical findings seen in this mucopolysaccharidosis is mental retardation, defects in structural components such as skeletal deformities, then heart valvular defects. What tests we can perform on? Biochemical operations which can be done to find out this mucopolysaccharidosis is screening test for detection of the increased excretion of glycosaminoglycans in urine. Here I mentioned the test name, that is Toledan blue test, and thin layer chromatography of glycosaminoglycans. In chromatography, you must have learned about the types of chromatography. This is one type, thin layer chromatography. Diagnosis is confirmed by assay of suspected enzyme in leukocytes, cultured skin fibroblast or serum, that is in tissue. Prenatal diagnosis is accomplished by assay of enzyme using chorionic villi or cultured amniotic cell. We have learned about prenatal diagnosis in our recombinant DNA technology class, one of the application. So this amniotic fluid or chorionic villi sample can be taken and enzyme assay can be accomplished, and the prenatal diagnosis can be done for this glycosaminoglycan test. Acquired defects of abnormal accumulation of this gas are seen in diseases such as atherosclerosis, arthritis and cancer. This is the condition in which this acquired defects are seen. Now we have completed this extracellular matrix, which consisted of collagen, elastin and proteoglycans. Proteoglycans, along with that we have covered mucopolysaccharidosis, which can again come as a short note. The various short notes are extracellular matrix. In that you are supposed to cover all the three: collagen, elastin and proteoglycans. Collagen as such, it comes as a short note alone. Then you have to cover the structure, synthesis, functions, and defect of collagen. Elastin, it does not come as a short note. Mucopolysaccharidosis, it can come as a short note. It is supposed to write down how this mucopolysaccharidosis are formed, the various types of gags you have to mention, and due to this enzyme defect in the formation or degradation of glycosaminoglycans, various type of disorder occur due to defect in which type of glycosaminoglycan. Now a note about biochemical basis of red and white muscle. This is asked in Viva. Major functional difference between red and white muscle cell is that white fibers generate ATP from glucose by glycolytic pathway. On the other hand, in the red muscle, pathway from substrate, that is glucose to ATP, is comprised by glycolysis plus TCA cycle plus electron transport chain. So in short, in red muscle there is oxidative phosphorylation, and in the white muscle we have substrate level phosphorylation. Is it clear? This is the difference, biochemical basis of red and white muscle. The generation of energy is there in both the muscle, and why it is red and why it is white. That you can easily find out why the color is red and why the color is white. That I have not covered here. That is homework for you. This is asked in Viva. What I have not covered here is the contraction of muscle, myosin and actin. That I think is covered in your physiology. So I won't repeat it again. Contraction of muscle is there in your physiology? Yes or no? Contraction of muscle is there in your physiology? Contraction of muscle in physiology, na?
Yes, ma'am.
So I won't repeat that here again. This is our extracellular matrix, which is a new topic from this year, and it comes as a short note. Thank you.
Morning, ma'am.